tribute to the late Professor Amata Eju. The beautiful ones are not yet born. Okay, is she the one who wrote that? I think so. I've forgotten who, but I think that's it. All right, then. So coming your way from Starr in the UK, in other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world as well. Hollywood actors will work out over paying and AI worries. Now, that is quite a worrying trend, because I'm asking myself the question. Now, AI is something that we cannot do anything about now. It seems to be coming whatever we do. But do you think that it's going to extinct human beings, the human race? Are we going to be extinct because of AI? All right then. And then are we going to be just sitting at home and chilling and the AI will be doing all the work? How do we make the money though? Yeah. Okay. Now I saw bodies dumped from lorry into mass grave. An eyewitness in Sudan tells reporters saw bodies being dumped by a paramilitary group. And then Wagner, no longer significant in Ukraine, US says the Pentagon comments come 3 weeks after the mercenaries failed mutiny in Russia. Yesterday, the Russians were saying that they've taken, or Wagner has submitted all arms that were with them to them. Now, historically, their moon mission lifts off successfully with Chandrayaan-3. India aims to be the first to land near the moon's explored south pole. Okay, so let's see what happens there. The Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Heatwave scorches millions across US Southwest as well. Are we going to be extinct pretty soon? Let's find a way. Okay. Yeah, in the UK as well. Gatwick to be hit by strikes over summer holidays. I need to bring details of that because a few people, those of you who have planned for a holiday, need to see that. Driving hundreds of miles for dentists unacceptable. And Pfizer Islam, the pain isn't over yet. An agreement over public sector pay doesn't mean the pressure is off altogether. But well, the Prime Minister yesterday said that we are not going to negotiate and no amount of strikes will make us change our mind, offering few whatever percentage raise for various public sectors. Well, what do you think about that? That's not going to be coming your way from there. It is Starr Radio UK. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only Archie. But now, let's go enjoy some music and we'll be with you. And this is from Shoratge.
We're getting ready once again, as we all know how this works every day. We start with Koikimedia, we switch to Starr Radio, and as we all say, we all have a role to play. I am only playing my own role. You can play yours as well, as long as everybody is playing their role. My role will be different from yours, but one thing is, we should never be tired of speaking the truth so that our people can be saved. Good morning once again to the Koikimedia platform team and those of you that loves the truth. Yoruba nation is non-negotiable. Nobody can negotiate our exit from this contraction called Nigeria. Nigeria is a contraction. It's not working. It should share for anybody. If you like, pray from now to thy kingdom come. It's not going to work. Let me just keep us going with this. By the time I come back, we go straight to the Starr Radio. But for now, as usual, I have something to play, which is this one from Igbowosha himself. I think I can just show it here. I can play Lati Biba. I think I can go to the history. History. Let me take a show. library. All right, let's just go straight to, just listen to Igbo while I prepare. I think it's this one. So I'm just gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna release it from here.
Jesus' mighty name.
All right, let's get ready. Òjò ń rọ̀ ṣeré lóore, má wọnú òjò kí aṣọ rẹ. Ọ̀gá stop ilé. Òjò ń rọ̀ ṣeré nínú ilé.
Anybody else to write the message?
Má wọnú òjò kí aṣọ rẹ. Ta ló rántí orin yẹn? Òjò ń rọ̀ ṣeré nínú ilé. Má wọnú òjò kí aṣọ rẹ má bàa tútù. Òjò ń rọ̀. Ta ló rántí orin yẹn? Òjò ń rọ̀ ṣeré nínú ilé. Má wọnú òjò kí aṣọ rẹ má bàa tútù. Bàbá mi kú lè ṣítà. Ẹ rántí orin yẹn? Ta ló rántí orin yẹn? Mr. Emmanuel Olabi, thank you so much. Mọ́mí mi Kẹ́mi Sọ́lá, ọmọ tó yìnbó, máa kí tọwọ́tọwọ́ kí yín. Èèyàn lálùbáríkà. What God cannot do does not exist. Wọ́n fẹ́ bọ́ kọ̀, ìran Yorùbá máa bọ́ nínú oko ẹrú. Ó máa bọ́ pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run. So ẹ ká join Star Radio ká lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ takuntakun. So let me call Achi. Star Radio UK Skype. Ìran èdè ló máa ń lo Skype. You know, ṣé mo pé ìlú tó ń ṣe Skype yẹn is a very very small country. Kẹ wo iṣẹ́ tí Skype yẹn ń ṣe káàkiri. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni òtútù tí mi gan ti tutù rẹpẹtẹ sí bíbá. Ẹja pé sí.
Doesn't matter what circumstance you find yourself in, somewhere, somehow, you got to rise up. What the people say, that rise and shine, for the light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. It's now gone 7 minutes by the top of the hour. And that means that I need to take you down North London Studios, where it's all going to be happening this morning once again. So stay tuned, don't you go away, even as I I go and welcome the one and only White Lion himself, my colleague as representative, Mr. Lion Koiki. And let me say, Yummy, good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Mr. Archie, and a good morning to our listeners and viewers from around the globe. And welcome to the last day of the week, but not the last day because tomorrow we still have a lot on the Star Radio Network. On Sunday, we have all the programs line up from the morning power hour to all other programs. But for now, it is a beautiful weather. It is raining outside, and I believe that was the reason why my wife kept on insisting that remember to take the children's raincoat when you're going out. Maybe it's going to rain up till afternoon. But I say good morning once again to Frank and also the rest of the presenter, and also good morning, good afternoon to those that have connected with us on the sister broadcast close to me here. Good morning, Mr. Archie.
Good morning. We hope the family and everyone is doing very well.
Well, like I always say, the Chinese or the Koreans say when the business is doing very well, then the family are doing very well. The family are doing very well, just like you always ask.
Yes. We thank God for that. All right then. Now, listeners, Starr Radio, you can miss your live with Koikimedia presenter in our North London studios, where we're going to be bringing you everything that you got to know from Nigeria with an update from Nigeria. Now, let's kick it off this way. Yesterday we had the president trying to, help. Let me put it that way: help those who are being affected by the removal of the subsidy, the fuel subsidy. And we're asking ourselves, where is it going to be getting the money from? Now, today, as of this morning, we know that they are saying that they're going to give everybody a tenner. $10. If I say tenner, people will think that we're talking about the pound. No, $10 monthly. Now, the question is, how are they targeting, especially when we know that when it comes to data, Nigeria would not actually got a proper data for you to be able, because here, when the children go to school, they can sit down and can tell you that from the data, they can tell you this one is not coming from a very strong home, therefore they need help this way. There's a data that we can look at that. But when it comes to Nigeria, how is it going to be? $10. Where is the government going to get that money from? Are they actually going to be able to do that? Yummy.
For years, we've expected that, by now in 2023, Nigeria will have, a good record of every Nigerian, even up to the remote area, whether they now have, what the government will be able to pay, the substantial amount of 8,000 naira, which you've talked about. That's about $10 equivalent as well. Data capturing that I can say is that Nigeria do not have it. We have a lot of information that keeps on, submitted as Nigerians. I remember traveling to Nigeria in 2017, and I had to apply for my NIM because that needs to be linked with my account in Nigeria. Up to date, I don't have, the original card. What we were given was a small slip. And billions of naira have been invested into data capturing. Already, there's been a lot of those that are against these, because this is exactly what the former president Muhammadu Buhari did, sharing money. And the question is, who will receive these? We know that Nigeria have about 130 millions of Nigerians, quote and unquote, living in abject poverty. They can't afford a dollar, not to talk about the $10. So the $10 is a lot of money for those that can't afford the dollar. But already, anti-corruption activists has warned Tinubu the proposed 500 billion palliatives, guess what, could be looted. That is from their own side. The governor of Kano State is already faulting the distribution. And the reason for that, again, the Kano State government has faulted the distribution of the federal government allocation of 500 billion naira through the Bank of Industry to support small-scale industries across the country. This is going to be a tough time. And to get the message clear, not the 130 million Nigerians will be receiving these $10. We are talking about just 12 million of them.
12 million of them. We're talking about 130 million Nigerians who are in abject poverty. And we're talking about only giving only 12 million. I mean, it's worrying. It's worrying because we're talking about means testing, how people can do that. So I was looking at it from this point because everybody uses commercial transport. I mean, those who can afford, they use commercial transport. So why is the government not going that way where, I mean, at the end of the month, if people are supposed to, and then you did explain the other time that people are not paying taxes. So at the end of the month, if you submit your bills or anything that should be calculated to see how much you've made or the profit that you've made, then it should be captured there that, look, out of that, we bought fuel on so much. Then government will recompense whatever or pay back whatever money or whatever transaction that has gone on. So it comes to you, but at least you know that government is controlling the transport fares for people and everybody will be benefiting from that. So I'm not going to get it. I'm not getting it at all, Yomi.
Well, I was asking those in Ekiti State that we have 3 million population, what is going to be their own part of these 500 billion? Somebody said maybe about 24 billion. The question is, with a 16 local government, 3 point something million population in a particular state, how many people would even be giving that $10? And how do we know that this money will eventually get to them? Because I'll give you an example. The Naira is just bouncing, like a bouncing baby boy, because as of this morning, it is now 1,045 Naira. So it is becoming worse every day. But I remember 3 weeks ago precisely, we had a correspondent in Ekiti State that told us that a woman was disgraced in the market because she actually borrowed 900 Naira. This is 100 Naira less from this 1,000 Naira from someone that came to the market and accused her of this money. We eventually have to send this money to that woman. I mean, extra money included, by my mom, just to support her. These are, I mean, she's a seller, she's a trader, but every penny that she had on this goods that she's selling, guess what, is not even up to 500 Naira. Not that Nigerians are not ready to work, but again, Bola Tinubu, the president, have declared state of emergency in the food sector, which is a good, welcoming development, because the reason why these traders are finding it difficult to bring goods out of the farm is because the farm has become a no-go area. And the reason for that, again, is because of the insecurity in the country. But it seems that the security agency are focusing their energy in the southeast, whereas in Plateau State, 18,000 Nigerians have now left their vicinity because of the insecurity. Over 384 people have died in the last 3 months in Plateau State. In Sokoto, the terrorists are now asking people to pay taxes. If otherwise, they will not be able to live in those areas.
Wow. Listen, let's start with the UK. I mean, stories that come from that part of the world, that was me. But let's come to the president. And first of all, Senate approving the service chiefs, okay? So they are expected to be up and running, seeing to the spirit. So the president might say that, look, I'm not putting the cart before the horse, I put the horse before the cart. So he should be able to pull it. But we've not had strategies by this security chief to help combat what that menace that is going on. Because now that the president is saying, look, I'm going to do how many hectares of land for farming, who is going to go there to go and farm? Is it the military who are going to now go into farming to farm for the citizens or the people in the country? Or are we going to have a military cordon of the whole place, the farm, so that we not have the Fulani headmen coming in and people going in there to destroy the farm land? Yummy.
Let me take you back to a call I had a week and a half precisely. Is a big farmer in Kaduna State. He's going to be relocating to UK anytime soon because he has lost everything. 3 years was the last time he visited his farm. 34 of his workers were kidnapped. One was killed. Millions of naira were paid for him to return those farmers back. Not only that, thousands of tons of grains was burnt by these Fulani terrorists. He cannot even drive his own vehicle. That literally means that he has to disguise by going on the public sector because of not being attacked. These are farmers that have invested heavily. How the security were not able to provide the security for him. I did ask him, and his answer was, these same security are compromised because they are the ones that are providing the security that they should be providing for Nigerians. And that takes me back to what we were told by T.Y. Danjuma. Maybe we should just listen to that again. This was about 5 years ago.
It's a mini state. It's a mini Nigeria composed of various ethnic groups living together reasonably peacefully. But the peace in this state is under assault. There's an attempt at ethnic cleansing in this state and of course in all the riverine states of Nigeria. We must resist it. We must stop it. Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
This was 5 years ago. We now have the same faces because the new military chiefs or service chiefs, as they are known, that have now been given the all clear by the Senate, the North, vow to tackle the insecurities. Some of them were below the ones that Tinubu has removed. Whether they will have a different tactics to deal with the insecurity is the question that a lot of Nigerians are waiting for. Mostly in the food sector, that Bola Tinubu has now declared a state of emergency in the agricultural sector. The confirmation was square to the consideration and approval of a motion brought by the Senate Majority Leader Okoyemi Bamidele of the APC Ekiti. The service chiefs are Major General Tarid Lagbaja, the Chief of Army Staff, the Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, the Chief of Naval Staff, where we know that there's not just about the issue on the land, even the waterways. As an example, in Ondo State, Ilaje, for the last 12 years, crude oil have been stolen. We hope that that will be stopped because that also is part of money that should have been used to support Nigerians. But the real question mark is, how do we resolve this problem? According to the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Tarid Lagbaja has now also directed troops of the Nigerian Army to assert control over the regions where Simon Ekpa, the leader of the Prime Minister, government in exile of the Biafra, and also impose the sit-at-home. So you can see that they are dealing with too many insecurity, because as far as the Chief of Army Staff says, that it is not just in the southeast, but there is a lot of insecurity around the country, and there's a lot of work to do. But as usual, Simon Ekpa has responded. Tell the Islamic State Chief of Army Staff that his planned invasion will be met with the highest resistance so far. We call on all the Biafrans to take note to the threat and remain indoor during the sit-at-home and also be vigilant. So you can see that Nigeria is going through a very, very rough, difficult time when it comes to those agitating, the terrorists, the Boko Haram, the bandit, and the normal criminality that is happening within Nigeria. As we said yesterday, somebody actually killed someone by removing the head for less than £50.
Well, listen, as a start ready, okay. Foreign got we got the president, yes, and his cabinet, which I don't know if whether it's got everybody yet, are going through turbulent times as the country is supposed to that turbulent time. But we'll see what happens there. But it's all coming away from Star Radio, okay, so like it again on North London Studios and out here in the South Studios. Now, do you think that the 7 chiefs have got what it takes to actually restore peace in Nigeria, or are we going to be same old, just another day? What do you think? What do you think they can bring on board? And you think that people will love to go to their farms, especially when you're talking about somebody who say that, look, my farmers, my workers were kidnapped and I had to pay so much, and now even I can't even drive my own vehicle. I need to hop on public transport because of the fears that you might be kidnapped by somebody. Well, listeners, is it a place to live? And is it a country that is where everything seems to be going on very well? It's all coming from Starr Radio UK. Now, earlier on this morning, we had Bishop Adesina who posted before you could talking about the access that what the response from the DSS pertaining to MFL's case, and they're saying that well, MFL has been charged and they are going to bring him to court. But it's been said here that well, MFL's case is going to test Tinubu's respect for law. Why are they saying so?
Well, Emefiele is not just an ordinary individual, and what do I mean by that? You know, is a former CBN, and that means all eyes will be on his case, as we know that he handled the affairs of how the naira, the change of naira. The court has directed the DSS to charge Emefiele within 1 week or release him, but we can confirm now also that it seems that things are moving very, very fast, you know, when it comes to the case between the federal government and Emefiele. The Nigerian Secret Police, the DSS, have finally filed charges against the suspended central bank, former central bank governor Emefiele, in line with the court ruling. We hope that in line with the court ruling means also that, you know, he will be given fair hearing, because the reason why Nigerians are not getting fair hearing is that, you know, even if the court direct the DSS to give him a bail, the DSS end up not refusing the court. And that is something that the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, refused to adhere to with the Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, because they were not listening to the court order. Even if Emefiele is going to be found guilty, that is not for the DSS to decide. That is for the argument between the DSS lawyers or legal team with the Emefiele legal team as well. This is now coming after the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, sitting in Abuja yesterday, ordered that either you release him or charge him. And now that the court have made that order, he has been charged. That then means that a case has to be continued. And whether the DSS will abide by the rules of the court, that is why Nigerians would like to know whether Tinubu is someone that will follow the rule of law. Remember that Shoratge was kept in Abuja even though he was asked to be released. But again, the former President Buhari refused to do so. Justice Mazo gave the order in his ruling in a fundamental human rights suit filed by Emefiele to challenge his arrest and detention by the secret police.
Do you think Emefiele is going to be having a nice or a fair trial? That is a question on the lips of most people. We'll be coming to what people are expecting from that, whether the DSS is going to adhere to it. But the question is, now, if Emefiele was that bad, let me put it that way for lots of words, okay? If Emefiele was that bad, why did Buhari still keep him there?
Some believe that Emefiele was working. He wanted to be the president. We saw his own posters and billboards and vehicles, but it seems that Nigerians were really like, this can happen. You are still, is either you come out of the CBN and do that, but you can't still remain as a CBN. He wanted to have a study leave, but Buhari guaranteed that nothing is going to happen. Maybe he would have run away in December when everybody was asking, where is Emefiele? We were told that he has never had holiday before, but all of a sudden he decided to go on holiday in December when the pressure was boiling very hot. But the question is whether Emefiele was working in line with derailing the upcoming election, or was going against the act put together by the CBN for some of what he has done, especially the change of money that led to the death of so many Nigerians. Because, we got to be honest, we don't even know how many people died during the period of that change of money. But we saw elderly women. We saw people going naked in the banking hall. We saw people saying, I have money in my account, but for whatever reason, the bank refused to give me the money. All this was what Emefiele was in charge. How the DSS would now be able to prove that Emefiele was working against Nigerians, not literally working against Tinubu to become the president, even though at some point Bola Tinubu say, if you like, change the money from red to pink, we will win this election, and he has eventually won the election, even though the election tribunal will determine whether he remains the president or not.
Well, it's interesting. But do you know the charges that have been preferred against Emefiele at all? Do you have a list of it? What are the charges?
Well, however, in a statement that was released yesterday, the DSS has charged Emefiele to court. The secret police said they had filed charges against Emefiele in line with the court ruling. Peter Afunaya, the same person that spoke during the invasion and assassination attempt on the life of Chief Dr. Sunday Igboho, said that the squall to the Abuja High Court today, which was yesterday the 13th, the Department of the DSS have now gone in accordance in the court compliance. The public may recall that the service had in 2022 applied for a court order to detain him in respect of what you are asking me today, criminal investigation, though he was able to obtain a restraint order from the FCTI court, the services. However, the arrest made in June last month on the strength of suspected fresh criminal infraction information, one which forms the basis of his current prosecution. The services assure the public of professionalism, justice, and fairness. I don't agree with that, but we just have to accept what they're saying, because Nnamdi Kanu is now 2 years in the custody. The court has thrown out all the charges against him, but the DSS refused to obey the court order. We are now waiting for the court appearance that is going to happen through the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. But Emefiele was suspended square to the ongoing investigation. The former Apex Bank was arrested on the 10th of June, over a week after President Tinubu was sworn in. So the reason why he's been arrested has got to do with issues to allegations of so many information that the DSS believe that he should have been arrested, but he used the influence of the presidency not to do so. And they say, when the new sheriff in town, the game must definitely change.
Well, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. What is happening in Nigeria? 11:21 now. Let's move on to some other stories. Now, let's quickly look at please. The Southeast governors who are on their way to go see the president pertaining to the insecurity. Well, we have Samuel Ekpa saying that make sure you stay at home. Now, whatever is going on in that particular part of the country is by the fact that they cannot. The governors are saying that they don't have control over it, so they cannot do anything that they need help from. But the only thing they're going to see the president is going to make the president say, you know what? Buhari promised that he couldn't do anything, but the charge, the case has to go to the courts that would Nnamdi Kanu, and then after the court ruling, then he will make. If they even find him guilty, then you can say that look, giving him a presidential pardon, and therefore you can release him or something of the sort. But he wasn't found guilty. The case was thrown out, and they decided to hold him. You think that by this governor going to see the president, maybe you have a relook at it and think that look, the best way forward is to release Nnamdi Kanu. Jump.
I did listen to Simon Ekpa yesterday on his State of Nation address, and he said to all the Biafrans that 3 of the governors that also traveled to Abuja called him and the call was to say that they have not traveled to get Nnamdi Kanu to be released, but they've gone for something different. And that you can only take from what he's saying, even though what the governors are saying, it might be a little bit different. But what we know that the situation with Nnamdi Kanu is that Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped by the federal government of the former President Muhammadu Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo, that we thought that as a legal expert, he would not have allowed such to happen. But as we say, it does not make any difference whether you have this kind of knowledge, because Nnamdi Kanu case is a test of time for the federal government. You wanted to apprehend him for terrorism or treason charges. You kidnap him, you rendition him. That is against the international law. But what the Biafra are saying is that release him back and obey the court. You wanted him, you've had him in your custody, but you are still not obeying the court order. And this is bringing a lot of pressure. I listened to one of the senators in Anambra, Ifeanyi Uba. Ifeanyi Uba wanted to also bring out his own small little security vigilante, but he has a little bit toned down and now asking whether they can have a kind of conversation between the Finland government and Nigeria to be able to look into the directive that Simon Ekpa is giving from Finland, because it seems that the directives have been listened to by so many people on the ground. Nigeria government is losing billions of naira every week in, week out, because the sit-at home is going Monday every week. But the one that went past was a week, and the one coming now is going to last 2 weeks. And that literally means that there will be more pressure on the ground. Whether the state governors will be able to plead with Tinubu, for a little bit of soft landing, but it seems again that maybe true or false, some of them are not really intended to get Nnamdi Kanu out of the custody. But we know also that Nnamdi Kanu's legal team continue to say to Tinubu, do not take this personal, like President Muhammadu Buhari took the issue of Nnamdi Kanu very, very personal.
Well, that's what happened. We saw that it took it very personal. That's why when he posted a comment on Twitter, Twitter decided to delete it, and it made it go cuckoo. But let's see, maybe Tinubu will have a real look at the whole thing that is going on, but it's not coming away from Starr Radio UK. Some information that has just come through. The Ekiti State Chief Judge, Justice Oyewole Adeyeye, has survived death from section of the State High Court complex that collapsed. Adeyeye, who was severely injured, was reported to have been moved to an undisclosed hospital for medical attention. It was learned that no life was lost in the incident, but workers on the premises were the ones that rescued the chief judge from the rubble. I don't know whether Yomi has got some more on that story, but that's some of the news that is making around from Nigeria.
Yeah, you're quite right. These are Justice Oyewole escaped death. But as we always say, there's a lot of buildings in Nigeria, just as we have buildings there in UK. The parliament is very, very old. There's a lot of repair and renovation going on. But the question about Nigeria infrastructure system has always been that money that is meant to fix and repair them gets stolen again, and it's just cycle and cycle. And like you said, yes, he escaped the death, but those that have died in the same situation is due to the negligence of so many of the buildings that should not even be standing in the first place.
Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK. It's gone 11:36, and we'll go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, it seems that Okorocha, remember Okorocha, one of the former governor of Imo State that also created, I can't remember the commissioner that he created, Happiness, Commissioner for Commissioner for Happiness. It seems that the EFCC case against him, the court has now dismissed EFCC case against Okorocha. Is the headline. The High Court, Federal Capital Territory. The FCT is taking a lot of cases, every blessed day, but sometimes some goes in accordance and sometimes some are dragged, like the cases between Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory has now dismissed the case against the former governor of Imo State, Rocha Okorocha, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Delivering the judgment rather, Justice Yusuf Halilu described the EFCC charges of fraud and abuse of office against Okorocha as an abuse of judicial process on the grounds that the anti-graft agency had filed a similar charge against the defendant at the Federal High Court. So it seems that if Okorocha for now is still a free person. Sokoto government set up investigation to investigate Tambuwa administration. Just as we say, when there's a new sheriff in town, they're trying to run after the old sheriff. The governor of Sokoto State, Ahmed Aliyu, yesterday has now inaugurated a judicial commission of inquiry to investigate some of the actions taken by the immediate past administration of Aminu Waziri Tambuwa while in office. The panel, which is going to be chaired by former Chief Judge of Gombe State, Justice Muzu Abubakar Abdul Kabdil, is expected to submit its finding within the 2 months. So we hope that those findings will eventually bring something to either nail him or find him not guilty, and maybe they should have put more pressure doing some other things. But as usual, we can't say that when a new government comes in or a new governor, they should not do what they are meant to do to at least find money stolen or taken away inappropriate, as we saw that Benue yesterday when 30 vehicles was taken away by the former governor, Otom, and he said, these are my own cup of cake from Nigeria. Why disturb me? Why not take care of yours by the time you are leaving? EU report, opposition is now demanding INEC chairman prosecution as the APC fumes. Remember that the European Union gave us their outcome of the final conclusion on the election 2023. There is still a court case that is going on. We are waiting for the outcome finally. But opposition parties yesterday have now demanded the resignation of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, on the basis of the European Union Election Observer Mission report, which gave INEC a low mark in its conduct of the general election. The Labour Party, the People's Democratic Party said the EU report on the election confirmed their position that the 2023 polls were not transparent or credible, but the INEC and the APC dismissed the Yakubu indictment by the party. The electoral agency had declared APC standard bearer Bola Tinubu the winner of the presidential election. The verdict was challenged by the Labour Party, the PDP, and some other opposition. Let's remind you of the total score of that election. Tinubu was able to pull 8.7 million to defeat the PDP bearer Atiku Abubakar with 6.9 million, while the counterpart Peter Obi had 6.1 million. Some say that maybe Atiku and Peter Obi should have joined force, and that would have forced Tinubu out of office, because that's about 12 million votes between the two of them. But as the obedience always say, we are different from PDP, even though we know that Peter Obi was part of PDP up to 2019. But it seems that that is still ongoing. Also, the police have charged the PDP candidate Ladi Adebutu and his associate for spending 2 billion naira for vote buying in Ogun State. You wonder why, when politicians get there, they have to recruit the 2 billion before any other work is done ahead. 41 minutes past. Let's take you through to what is trending on social media. And as usual, Simon Ekpa is still the biggest trending in Nigeria today with about 45,000. It's trending more than the president, and I can tell you for other reasons, as some believe is the good guy, why something is just a disturbance from outside Nigeria. Even we had some Yorubas and Igbos that went to the Finnish embassy to say that Simon Ekpa is disturbing the peace of the land while he's enjoying in Finland. And I listened again to Simon yesterday. Simon said, if you want peace, allow a full referendum and decide whether we want to remain as an entity of Nigeria or not. So let's take a look at why he's trending again this morning. According to him, is responding back to the Senate President Akpabio and other part President Tinubu palliative budget. Simon Ekpa responded, criminals, when they hear Biafra, they start running mad. That is from him there. There's a lot of different messages. This one is coming from at Eze Patrick Tweet 1. Breaking the Gragra, Dr. Ifanyuba, who set up some Boy Scouts to stop sit-at-home, has bowed down, planning to meet President with his cohort to plead for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu release. Also engage Simon Ekpa diplomatically. The man is even physically going down and is now very tired. So it seems that they say the last man standing is the situation of things when it comes to Simon Ekpa and the Nigerian federal government. IPOB is trending with about 57,000 as well. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is trending at about 10,000. Now let's look at Nigeria as a whole and let's talk about what Nigerians are saying when it comes to Nigeria on the social media this morning. And then we go straight from Neferati. Neferati is one of the supporters of the Peter Obi. They came to steal, to kill, and to destroy the economy, the democracy, and the unity in Nigeria. They all political criminals. Han Angle is a media platform. In recent times, some of the deadliest terror attacks in Nigeria have been done against schools in the northeast to the north central region. From 2009 till date, there has been tens of schools attacked in Nigeria, leading to adoption and halt in education and disruption of lives as property as well. But also, Chidi Odukalu Chidi Odukalu, as we know, is one of those that fight the injustice in Nigeria. And this morning, it says, hashtag go to court can also be hubris of judicial capture and corruption. Hashtag Nigerian judicial appears deep in their throes of being reshaped as an estate defined by the filler and genital. Also, as we come back to those that are agitating, Omeyo continued to take the Yoruba Nation campaign to the crooks and crimes of Yoruba land. As yesterday, it was out again in some of the remote area, working tirelessly, giving the information for those that are not yet aware of what is called the Yoruba Nation and why we need to exit Nigeria peacefully. So yesterday, Omeyo was out there at what we call the grassroots awareness campaign continue for the Yoruba Nation not going back somewhere in Abeokuta, Ogun State. And as we say, more engagement continue online and offline as those campaigner for Yoruba Nation says that diplomatically, negotiation, and also peaceful protest will be part of the engagement with the new government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And as we wait for his response to whether they will lift the embargo on Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho as against those that are asking for him to apologize for a crime he has not committed. Because whenever you apologize for something, that means you are admitting to the crime. Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho's home was attacked and almost killed by the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. He was able to escape, and likewise, we know that so many correspondence between the leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle, Professor Banji Akintoye, to President Muhammadu Buhari did not yield any fruit. And we are now hoping that there will be a kind of fruit between the new President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Professor Adebanji Akintoye in the way forward to how the Yorubas would determine whether to be part of Nigeria or not, as the right to self-determination is not a crime under the international law and under the United Nations and the African Union. This is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It is the weekend, and I'll come back now to you in the studio, Mr. Archie. And let's remind ourselves that there are so many Biafrans still in the prison, kept against the will. That reason is because some of them are putting on this outfit that the former President Muhammadu Buhari was really taking it very personal. We hope Tinubu will not take it personal and allow Biafra to put on their regular outfit wherever they want in Nigeria, because this outfit is not a crime, and these are not military outfits that is not permitted in Nigeria.
Well, it's putting on what's wrong? Because there's a situation we're talking about the fact that Nnamdi Kanu wants to put on his and they said they are not allowing the DSS will not allow him to wear that in prison. They're not allowing him. I don't know whether they're giving him a prison uniform to wear, but it is already okay. Now, interestingly, was it sometime this week or last week we had the president of Benin visiting President Tinubu? Did you capture what was discussed?
Well, we know that Tinubu met with him as well, during the France Global Summit. There was picture, but we didn't know what was the conversation. And Friday, 2 weeks ago, you're right, Tinubu had, the President Patrick Talon in Abuja, just as some of the African presidents have been visiting. It was a closed-door conversation. There was not any press briefing after that. But we do not have any intel or information of what was discussed. But we know that, as we always say, Benin Republic is just part of Nigeria. But during the colonial and the struggle to take Africa, Benin was carved out from Nigeria by the France and those that wanted to take it into their control. But as many Yoruba believe that Benin Republic is still a Yoruba part, and that is the reason why Patrick Talon looked away, even in the mighty of Buhari that wanted to take back Igboho. I remember Buratai visited Igboho, offered him millions of dollars to abandon the movement of Yoruba nation. Igboho refused, told him that he's not fighting because of the money, he's fighting because the wish of our people is to be free from the subjugation, marginalization. But some might now say that now that we have a Yoruba president, are we still going to be marginalized? Are we still going to be, subjugated? But the question then is, after the Yoruba has completed its tenure, the power returned back to the north, and that is where the argument is. Tinubu is not going to be there as a king. He's only there to manage the affairs of Nigeria. So we hope that whatever the outcome of the meeting between Talon is going to be a fruitful one in the long run for Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, that is in Benin Republic, that has been given what we called humanitarian protection for his life while he was running away, like Tinubu did in the 90s. He ran away from Abacha because Abacha wanted to assassinate him. Tinubu spent a lot of time in London. Even at that time, he said, I do not believe in Nigeria. But now that I picked up another article that Tinubu, gave in 2017. And that article stated clearly, let's see if we can get that out. This was in 2017, September 24. Tinubu said, Biafra, don't condemn IPOB, Tinubu tells Nigerians. And today, he's now in the affairs of Nigeria. We hope he's not going to condemn the Biafra just as he said so in 2017. We know that things have changed, but always politicians must stick to their words.
Well, it's just 6 years ago that he made that statement. So let's see what happens. Do you think that there's a chance, a slim glimmer of hope that there's going to be maybe a referendum? He says, well, okay, this is what you guys are saying. Let's try it. Let's see whether those in the southeast and the southwest will want out. Do you think Tinubu will do that?
Well, Tinubu is still observing. Like I was saying this morning, he's he's not new in the game. He was a governor for 8 years, but he's the only president that we have that is kind of a little bit different from the ones that we have had before. We know that Jonathan was at the time a deputy governor as well, until he was brought in to become, the vice of Umaru Umusadar Yaradua that died and, gave Jonathan that privilege. Jonathan is also well read, but what happened is now that we now have a new person in place of Tinubu And we hope that within months and months, it will be able to review and look into the constitution that doesn't have the real clause of the referendum and probably put that in front of the politicians, whether the North will accept that, whether the Southeast politician will accept that, whether the Southwest politician, because it's all about the politicians. If your politicians are accepting that, it makes it very easy. So even if he's proposing it, they might even just abandon it while the proposal will come. But everybody believes that there is just that little bit of tiny salt, even though some might not believe it.
But do you think that so far, I mean, I know I'm digressing a bit, but so far with the representatives, the parliament, the House of Representatives, do you think when it comes to the Southeast, do you think they are in favor of the Southwest, okay, and the Southeast as well? Do you think they are in favor of what is going on? Are they in favor of what Sunday Igboho was saying, that look, our people are being marginalized, they are being killed, their farms are being ransacked, and therefore we need to stand up for them? Are they in favor of it? Or maybe they are not at all, or maybe the method that maybe Sunday Igboho is using is what they don't want? How do you see it?
You're quite right. I think, looking at these, campaign trail that has happened between the Yorubas and the Biafra, the representatives, that are speaking to us behind the curtains, some of them might not like the approach, not the approach of what we are doing, but they are scared of the approach because it's not, normal for you to go out and you have millions of people following you like Igboho was doing. And that was a concern to the Yoruba politicians. I've heard the politicians, Ifeanyi Uba stated it clearly that if we do not believe Nnamdi Kanu has control of the Southeast, and that literally means that even though he's been kept in the custody, there is still people outside and outside the country that are ready to do whatever command he gives. But how do we manage this crisis? When you look at the Scottish have now had a party, the Alba Party, that is pushing towards the referendum. Even though they've been given one in 2014, Nigerians will say that should we not have a referendum, we can remain one. But those that are saying that we can't remain one if we do not come on the round table. The round table discussion must happen so that we can move this situation further so that it doesn't end up to be the Sudan that we are looking up to right now.
We're going to go in just one more because the conversation is interesting and people are listening and some are asking me some questions. Now, do you think that if let's say Yoruba Nation has a political party, they form a political party, and we have the IPOP also form a political party who are all now represented there, do you think it can make a difference?
Well, I was reading through, Bashegun. Bashegun is the leader of the UK Ilana. And he actually pointed to what you discussed right now, especially for those of us that wants to, campaign from UK. And what he actually said is that review by a selected committee of the House of Commons require a referral by the Prime Minister. We have no political influence. A Yoruba party in UK is one means of getting that influence. The Yoruba diaspora is large enough to sustain a party. We could generate enough noise by taking part in the upcoming by-election. That is another area that he thinks that we can make our case heard in UK. In terms of Nigeria, you can't stand as an independent political party. So that literally means that you have to speak to some of your representatives, and some of them, especially in the Southwest, refuse to come on board because of Bola Ahmed Tinubu's ambition to become the president. Now that he's the president, maybe they would now start looking into the future that we should remain in Nigeria or not. But one thing is, you can't stop those that are asking for the right to self-determination, since it is part of the right under the United Nations and the African Union. But as we say, time will tell, because those asking for this right did not start 3 years ago. That right has been part of the independence that we got, but that independence was destroyed during the regional government that led to the military controlling Nigeria for a very long time. We are now on the second decade of the non-interference of democracy in Nigeria, but yet democracy is not getting to the people as quickly enough as possible.
Well, you tell us that our democracy is young. That's why we are not saying what we are saying. So we should give it a bit of time. Do you think that would do? And when democracy that's the rule of law, and people are not respecting the law, and they say like, yeah, we have to just take it like that way. How do we do it? Bishop Adesina, once again, good morning to you. So kudos, Starr, ready. Okay, kudos to you as well. Thank you very much for the posts that you gave put on earlier on. Yomi, is there any special activities for Elamo Odua and then the iPod or whatever? Do you have any activities planned for the weekend? Is there anything of the sort?
Well, it's more of the the culture and the festival today. There's an event happening in Ibadan. It's got to do with the Yoruba culture, and likewise, that is going for 2 days where there will be culture of Ifa and all that. So that is already going to be happening within the next few hours. That is also part of a campaign trail, just as we talked about. Omeyo was out yesterday. So majority of the presenter of both the Biafra and the Yorubas have continuously educate many Nigerians that needs to know why we need to break apart. While some Nigerians think it is all about the leadership, but like I said, the campaign trail, it's all going to happen, as we say, never say never, because even the Scottish have never given up for their right to self-determination.
Wow, listen, it's been a lengthy one, but I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me say thank you very much before you go.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archie, and catch up again on Monday morning when we continue with the update.
Wow, listen, let's say thank you very much to Mr. Laini Koiki for that wonderful update from Nigeria. We took a bit of this time, but I know that you were enjoying it, and therefore we needed to go on. But the president said, you know what? I'm going to give $10 to everyone, and about 12 million people.
Well, that was a long one. I'm going to cut down now at about Droti. Thank you so much to everyone that have joined the Star Radio UK. We'll be back again for the Monday headlines and update, but on the Yoruba Nation campaign, the struggle continue. From wherever you're watching, enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Barika, the Jima, from Muslim brothers and sisters, and in Christians who are not. What God cannot do does not exist. It's not about fight. It's all about explaining to each other why we need to sort ourselves out from this contraction called Nigeria. Mokinyo Lenkonsio. Bye for now.